This is JTW with JTW's Reactions, back again with another video. So, a few days ago, I did a reaction about a man who attended a Zoom court hearing about his driver's license being suspended, but he attended the Zoom while he was driving. Let's take a look.
Mr. Harris, are you driving?
Actually, I'm pulling into my doctor's office, actually. So just give me 1 second. I'm parking right now.
Wait. You stationary?
I'm pulling in right now at this second. Yes, I am.
All right. What are we doing?
Your Honor, we are respectfully requesting an adjournment in this matter, up possibly 2 to 4 weeks if the court would allow.
Okay. So maybe I don't understand something. This is a driving while license suspended,
That is correct, Your Honor.
and he was just driving, and he didn't have a license.
That is with the charges, Your Honor, yes.
No, I'm looking at his
Yes.
record. He doesn't have a license. He's suspended and he's just driving.
That is correct, Your Honor.
And as a result, this is what happened next.
I don't even know why he would do that. So defendant's bond is revoked in this matter. Defendant is to turn himself into the Washington County Jail by 6 p.m. today. Failure to turn himself in will result in a bench warrant with no bond.
Then a couple of days later, there was an update to this story.
Well, tonight, a man who became a meme after a viral court appearance in Ann Arbor is looking to set the record straight. Thank you so much for joining us for 7 News Detroit at 6. I'm Carolyn Clifford.
And I'm Mike Duffy. People couldn't believe Cory Harris logged into the hearing for a charge of driving on a suspended license while he was actually driving.
He was cited last October in Pittsfield Township. That now infamous hearing was just last month. Tonight, 7 News Detroit reporter Kimberly Craig tells us Harris believes he's paying an unfair price for an honest mistake.
It has literally been pure OD hell. I've been assaulted. I've been followed. I've been laughed at. I've been ridiculed. I have been disrespected.
Cory Harris is planning to appear back in an Ann Arbor courtroom Wednesday with a new defense attorney, Dion Webster Cox.
My client doesn't want to go out here breaking the law. He's a law-abiding citizen. My client doesn't want to go out here breaking the law. He's a law-abiding citizen. So now that we know what's going on, we're taking the steps to go forward to correct the problem, to put him in a situation where his license is in proper order.
Mr. Harris, are you driving?
Actually, I'm pulling into my doctor's office, actually. So just give me 1 second. I'm parking right now.
Harris said he was driving to take his wife to the doctor because her medical condition was worsening. But when the judge could see Harris was driving during that virtual hearing for driving on a suspended driver's license, Harris's bond was revoked. He spent 2 days in the Washington County Jail, and the video spread across the internet like wildfire.
I don't even go on the internet anymore. I deleted my Facebook, my Instagram, Twitter. I deleted everything.
Harris said he had no idea he was driving on a suspended license back in October when he was first ticketed by Pittsfield Township Police. He thought the suspension that was tied to unpaid child support had been lifted 2 years ago. What was your reaction when he told you, so you have a suspended license?
I looked at him like, you got to be joking, because all of this was supposed to have been taken care of already.
Court records show a judge ordered that suspension lifted in January 2022, but a spokesperson for the Secretary of State said they never received a clearance from the friend of the court. No one from the friend of the court responded to my calls last week, but today, a representative for Saginaw County's chief judge did respond and said the clearance was never sent to the Secretary of State because Harris did not pay the license clearance fee to their clerk's office.
Never told told me a thing. That's all they said was that they would be sending me some paperwork in the mail. And here it is, 2024. And I just received the paperwork that they were supposed to send me 2 years ago.
Front of the court.
Right.
They never said you had to pay a fee or anything.
No.
Right now, he needs to go to he has an appointment with the Secretary of State Thursday. So Thursday he's going, let's get this in order.
So now, a couple of days later, there's another update.
Well, the saga of a Michigan man who zoomed into his court hearing for a suspended license while behind the wheel has taken yet another wild turn.
Oh, boy. All right, authorities now say he never had a driver's license to begin with.
Hold up. Wait a minute. Something ain't right.
So maybe I don't understand something. This is a driving while license suspended,
That is correct, Your Honor.
and he was just driving, and he didn't have a license. I don't even know why he would do that. So defendant's bond is revoked in this matter. Defendant is to turn himself into the Washington County Jail by 6 p.m. today. Failure to turn himself in will result in a bench warrant with no bond.
And he's looking like this is such a surprise. Look at him. Look at him.
Look at this. Somebody come look at this.
Now, the judge is going to break it down as to what happened.
People are saying, and quite frankly, your client has made the assertion that the Pittsfield Township, as well as this court, was acting on some type of defective or faulty information, which I will tell you, counsel, caused the court, given what the court did, to investigate what my ruling was. And I will tell you that that assertion is absolutely correct with reference to any faulty information that either came through to the Pittsfield Township Department of Public Safety or to this court ultimately at the May 15th hearing. And I think it needs to be stated, I've been asked for comments. I have refrained from comments, as is my normal practice is. This court with the pending case will speak on the record. And so I am going to make sure that the record is very, very clear as to what this court knows and what this court acted on May 15th. And we can start with this. And my basis for doing it is because of what was said about what this whole process was. And that an indication, counsel, and I know, counsel, you've been before me before.
Absolutely.
I know it is not coming from you, but you also know how I am.
I do.
And the thing is that if for whatever reason, the one time in my life I was wrong, I will say it and did. But when I'm not wrong, and when people are not to blame, then it also needs to be said. So I will try to get through this as quick as I possibly can. But I will tell you, first of all, with any reference to your client having had a license on that day, and some indication or misunderstanding as to whether or not he had a license, let me make it very clear, based upon what the court looked at, he has never had a Michigan license, ever, and has never had a license in the other 49 states and commonwealths that form up this great union. He has never had a license. In point of fact, when they suspended his license, and what people don't understand, when they suspended his license in Saginaw, they don't suspend the license. They suspend the privilege to drive in this state. Hence, for example, if he had had a Kentucky license, he would be able to drive everywhere that Kentucky would allow him to drive. He just couldn't drive in Michigan because his privileges had been restricted. I know you know that, but that wasn't at all said. But it doesn't matter because he didn't have a license ever. There is also then, and you know, I will, when it is necessary, come to the defense of my sister courts, and I will come to the defense of Saginaw. They got a great chief judge. Chief judge answered the question. But I will tell you, that court and its friend of the court did nothing wrong. His license was, his driving privileges, better stated, were unsuspended in 2022. That required Mr. Harris to do something. He didn't do it. Therefore, the friend of the court was under no obligation to send anything to the Secretary of State. Now, I hated that I had to look at all of this, but when there's a question as to what I did, I'm going to look at everything to make sure that what I did was all in order. There's then an indication from that because that wasn't sent, there was a direct attack on Michigan's Department of Secretary of State's office, saying that the Secretary of State was somehow at fault. Let me tell you something. Secretary of State did what they were supposed to do. And in point of fact, they did nothing because they hadn't gotten anything from the court because Mr. Harris had not paid the reinstatement. This week, or the latter part of last week, once he paid that, Saginaw friend of the court did what they should do, and they sent it. Immediately, based upon the information that I have, the Secretary of State did what they do every day. They took that suspension off of his driving record, and he was then unsuspended. And then your client did what he needed to do with reference to the Secretary of State and paid a reinstatement. Okay. Just a second, Mr. Schiller. I'm going to let everybody respond because
Thank you.
I am not done yet.
Okay.
All right.
You're covering a lot of the points for me. Thank you, Your Honor.
And so that came down to that. So the information at the time that I had, that Pittsfield Department of Public Safety had, was all correct at the time of both Pittsfield stop as well as the May 15th day. It was all correct. There was no error by anybody. It was a failure on the part of Mr. Harris to do certain things. Now, I grant you that sometimes that can be a complicated process, but it was certainly not anybody's fault that that didn't happen other than that wasn't paid. Now, here's the other thing, and I'm like maybe in church where I say I'm about finished now, but the other part of this is this stop was in October. Most of the cases that we've heard just in this last afternoon are driving while license suspended cases. That's part of my Wednesday afternoon. We go through great pains to try to get people their licenses back, which is really how it should happen. Between October and because I don't live under a rock, I actually watch things. You look very nice on TV.
Thank you.
You're welcome. There was something that was said that was very disturbing to me. And I'm just going to let you know because I believe in being fair with everybody. The question was asked along the lines, between October of 2023 and the point in time of the May 15th hearing, was there an attempt by Mr. Harris to correct his license? Here's the part that was disturbing for me, so that you know.
Okay.
Mr. Harris indicated that at some point he had been involved in some accident. And being involved into the accident, that he was basically bedridden or at least housebound, he could not get to the Secretary of State. That was set up there, and I'm going to presume, because my knowledge of counsel, defense counsel is, I know you don't misrepresent anything.
Right.
You never do.
Right.
That's not true.
Okay.
He purposely stated that he could not get to the Secretary of State. which for the way we handle things in this court would have placed him in a whole different category. We would have tried to find a way. Let's figure it out. And the reason I know that is because Mr. Harris, on December 28th of 2023, do you know where you were?
December 28th, 23.
23rd.
2023.
I know I was laid up from my
You
accident.
were at the Secretary of State's office. And you were at the Secretary of State's office because you redid and got your new Michigan ID. I have the date. That's the date you did it. December 28th, 2023. You did. And so that you also know, and in all fairness to counsel, because I don't know if counsel knows this or not, the way I know that he's never had a license is because May 3rd, 1990, he was 19 at the time. May 3rd, 1999, he applied for his first Michigan ID. Counsel knows, so I do. You cannot have both. You either have an ID or you have a license. One of the two. He has religiously every year gotten a new ID. And so he knows that he doesn't have a license. And quite frankly, I just wish he would have said that at the beginning. And all of this hoopla could have been just put all aside.
My client doesn't want to go out here breaking the law. He's a law-abiding citizen. My client doesn't want to go out here breaking the law. He's a law-abiding citizen.
So obviously this lying idiot was breaking the law. She just didn't know it because she didn't do her research. But check this out. When the news anchor asked him, did he ever have a driver's license? This is what this idiot says.
We asked Harris yesterday if he ever had a valid driver's license. He claimed he didn't remember.
Do you ever recall having one? Having a driver's license?
Now look at the stupid look on his lying ass face, trying to come up with a lie, but he's not too bright. As you can tell, this is what he says.
I knew I had a permit. I knew that.
A driver's permit or?
I believe. I don't know. I can't say yes and I can't say no.
And that was the best he could come up with. Dummy.
And that's odd because the Pittsfield Township police officer and prosecutor said during that October traffic stop, Cory Harris knew what was up.
At least twice during this traffic stop, he acknowledged to the officer that he did not have a valid license.
So now we find out that he has never had a driver's license. He went on the news blaming the state that they did not send him any information. They did not tell him when, how much he had to pay, all this other stuff to get his driving privileges back. Complaining that he was assaulted. Who want to fight him, assault him because he's stupid? Come on now. But complained about that, how people ridiculed him. He's embarrassed. He's, in front of his church members and all this other nonsense. And how he had to delete all of his social media accounts. After all of that, then we find out that he was lying. So, but what happens next is a big surprise for him. He didn't realize that he had a warrant out, an old 9-year-old warrant out for his arrest. So this is what happened next.
Then came the unexpected.
He has a warrant for his arrest.
Cory Harris was taken into custody for what appears to be a 9-year-old bench warrant out of Allen Park.
So was I shocked? Absolutely. Did I want my client to walk in, then get escorted to the back? Absolutely not.
So hopefully Mr. Harris has learned his lesson. Hopefully he will get his driver's license and stop driving around illegally. And hopefully we won't be hearing any more negative news about him, or else the internet will talk about it. So, if you have watched the video for this long, Click that like button and hit the subscribe button for more content coming from JTW's Reactions. Take care. See you on the next video.